Welcome back, everybody, to the Draft Degenerates podcast. And it's edge rusher time, baby. This is what we come for. This is what everyone wants, right?
Oh yeah,
Yes. It turns out the answer to
absolutely.
that is actually yes, luckily. Dalton, not quite as confident with his little subtext here. Is this class good? Question mark. But I think overall the answer is yes.
Yeah, it's just I just don't know how good.
That is the
Like,
question that we're going to be discussing today because I think it is an apt one because there's a lot of guys who I look at and like you do something good, but do you do enough things good to actually be a really good player consistently, or are you going to be a situational player? That was kind of my takeaway with a lot of the back end of this class. So
yeah, the back like 5 out of the top 10, I feel like in the aggregate would make up like a Hall of Fame edge rusher,
correct. Yes.
but
Yeah.
by themselves, they just
Alas, we do not have the technology at this time to do so.
You need like honestly, it would not be a bad strategy to take like 2 or 3 guys in this edge class and just like rotate them in like each down.
Honestly, kind of in some of these cases, and honestly, the Dolphins, who I cover now, might want to do that because they have one singular edge rusher currently on the roster. So they might be the one to test out your theory, Dalton.
And he is extremely one-dimensional.
Oh yeah, a little bit. Yeah, they're coming off an unfortunately not so good season. But anyway, maybe we'll find out if that is true, if that would work, because they might be the one to do it. But no, this should be a fun group to talk about. More fun than the interior defensive line class, I think, generally, especially because there's guys who actually like do the thing they're supposed to do for the most part in this group, opposed to where I didn't always feel that way watching the interior group last week. But hey, what are you gonna do? This should be a lot more fun. And if anyone's asking, yes, that this my subtext thing is a Star Wars reference. If you didn't know, now you know. I will not elaborate further on it. You have to just know or you don't. But no, this should be a lot of fun. We're going to start, as always, with our honorable mentions. There's a lot of guys that might be in this group that could be our 10, 9, 8-ish range, maybe even higher. We tend to do that sometimes. I am waiting to see how far apart we are in this group because this is usually one that there is a pretty big difference between some of our top guys. So maybe this won't happen this time. Maybe it will. I don't know. It's hard to say, but we will be finding out shortly. But let's start with our honorable mentions. Jake, I actually want to start with you here. Who's the first guy you want to talk about that didn't quite make your top 10 that you still think you want to talk about?
I'll throw out Romello Height.
Okay. That's a fun one because I didn't watch him. I know, Dalton, did you watch him?
Yeah, I watched him.
Okay. So Dalton did watch him. I chose not to watch him because I need to know, and this could, by the way, with the combine coming up here in the next couple of days, starting with edge especially, the testing numbers will probably affect some of these rankings ultimately.
Absolutely.
They kind of have to. It is an important part of the process for them. But Height is one of the guys I chose not to watch because I really just need to see how athletic he exactly is before I bother watching him. Yeah. Because as Dalton said to me earlier, what is he, Dalton?
Short and old.
All right, there we go.
Very short, very old.
But Jake, you lead us off here since you do want to talk about him. But I did want to throw that out.
Yeah, short and old are two things that had him outside my top 10.
Right. Yeah, fair enough.
He is pretty fun to watch, though. I mean, he's a very quick, just a great athlete for the position. He's very explosive off the line. But one thing I really like about him is he combines that athleticism with a good, like, mental part of the game. Like, his pass rush plan is good. When you watch him, you see him kind of set up his pass moves here and there, which I like to see. But again, as a 25-year-old, you kind of would hope he has that part to his game already. But he's very good with his hands. He has a good pass rushing bag, a good amount of moves that he can win with. He has a high motor. Everything athletically and mentally about his game I like, but the size is an issue. He's undersized. I definitely worry about him as like a consistent run defender in the NFL just because of his size. He doesn't really set the edge too well. Can't really get extension on blocks. And he's 25. So I know there's a few guys in this class will say that about, but those are some of the issues that kept him out of my top 10. But I did want to mention him just because I actually had a lot of fun watching him despite some of his weaknesses. He's just really quick and explosive, and he plays like he has a good plan. But I just think his age isn't great, and the size I just really worry about at the NFL.
Yeah, he didn't quite make my rankings either, just because he's one or two guys we're going to talk about tonight that are going to be 25 as rookies. And when you're that much older than everybody you're playing against, I think with the tape, it's hard. We got to figure out if are you having the success that you're having because you're really, really talented and you have good instincts and good technique, or are you looking this good because you should have been in the league a year ago and you're just dominating against people that are much, much earlier in their development than you? I feel like he falls into more of the latter category. I do think there is a role for him in the NFL, but it's developmental outside linebacker in a 3-4 scheme is kind of it for him, and that's really the only way it's going to work. And unfortunately, the league's kind of gone away from having 4 linebackers on the field. There aren't as many schemes that do that anymore, but I think there's a role for him. And I mean, when you're, I will say the height, while it is going to be an issue for him, actually lining up head to head with tackles in pass rush situations, he does actually use that shorter frame to anchor really well against the run. So that was actually something that does give me hope that he could be a 3-down player in the right scheme. It's just going to depend. He also can do some linebacker things, which again helps, but it's just, I mean, he's a 4th-round guy for me just because there's just too many other guys that I would rather get on day.
Yeah.
That's kind of what I've heard about him, and I will be watching him after the combine for sure. I want to see just how explosive, athletic he really is for a guy that is in his kind of mold. But what I've heard about him is that a lot of people are trying to compare him to Nick Herbig of the Steelers, and obviously I know very well what kind of player he is. The problem is I don't think Nick Herbig is 25 now, let alone when he was getting drafted out of Wisconsin. It's just a lot to ask for someone his size and his age profile to be, anything more than a day 3 pick that you hope can make it work despite some of the limitations and the age and things like that. So I think I'll end up similar to you guys on here, where he's not in my top 10, but is someone I'm interested in. But I did want to kind of wait until we see how he tests, because if he tests out of this world, that obviously is going to impact where he gets drafted, not only because of just how explosive he might end up being, but because it'll take away some of the concerns that maybe teams have about him as a 25-year-old.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do really like the Nick Herbig comp.
Yeah.
That's what you hope he becomes.
Yeah.
That's, I think, what you would expect or hope for. But
yeah. Want to know a fun fact about Romello Height's age?
Sure.
He is just 2 years younger than Chase Young.
That sucks.
Not gonna lie. Remember Chase Young?
Oh, I remember. Hey, he's good now.
I forget how young he was coming out of college.
But still,
ironically,
Chase Young was in the draft 7 years ago?
2020, second pick
5 years ago. Yeah.
5 years ago. Really, 6 years ago now.
Yeah. Height is 2 years younger than him.
Not great.
I mean, there's a good handful of players he's 4 years older than in the same class.
There's guys in the league he's 4 years older than.
Yeah.
That's there. Hey, that's why we're talking about him here and not probably. But no, I think that he's a guy that I'm definitely curious to watch once the combine finishes up here. But I'll go next year. Somebody that I want to talk about that I don't think is going to be in the top 10 for anyone, but I do want to talk about him because I wonder if he will creep into my top 10 depending on how he tests, because I think it's going to matter a lot for him. Because he's an interesting guy that I don't know what his best role is going to be, but I'm intrigued. Kieran Crawford out of Auburn, the other edge rusher at Auburn, was number 11 for me, just outside my top 10. He was used very interestingly at Auburn, where he was very much like this hybrid, outside linebacker type, Oftentimes, like maybe it was just kind of the way they used him. He would even kind of slide out to the slot, not necessarily to defend as a cover player from the slot, but kind of to drop into coverage from that spot and to blow up screens and stuff like that. The pass rushing tool bag, like it's not quite there yet. Overall, I think he does need to develop more moves, but because of the way he was used, I think that's part of why he doesn't have a ton of moves to get to. But he does have good get off, pop with his hands as a rusher. I do think ultimately the run defense is going to be what kind of keeps him from being an every down player. I just don't see it really developing much because I think he's kind of maxed out from his frame perspective. But I do think he could be a valuable, like either third pass rusher or just one of those hybrid type of guys. That, like ideally, I'd love him to be like an Andrew Van Ginkel type of player for the Vikings, right? Where like he can kind of do a little bit of everything, isn't necessarily like an every down player all the time, but could be a fun piece of a defense in the right scheme.
Yeah, I just worry about the coverage at the next level if he can actually do that.
Like do that stuff consistently. Yeah, for sure. That's what I'm curious to. But they use him in that way a lot. I wonder if he could at least give you that as like a spot dropper type of guy. So
I do think he kind of unfortunately like got kind of misused because they have Keldrick Falk, who obviously we'll talk about later. And you don't want Keldrick Falk dropping into coverage.
You certainly don't. In fact, spoiler alert, he's not in my top 10 because I think he's an interior player.
Oh, wow.
But if
I don't hate that much.
If I knew he was going to be an edge, I would rank him inside the top 10 for the edge rushers. If I knew he was going to commit to doing it. But the more I watched him, I feel like his best path is to gain 10 pounds and be a 5 tech. Like that just feels like what would be easier for him to do with his skill set as it currently is. That's why. So it's not that he wouldn't be necessarily.
That'll be a fun debate when we get to him later on.
Because I will talk to him talk about him as an edge, but I just not have him in my top 10 because I felt like if I'm committing to him being that in my head, I'd rather just rank him in there, which I can talk about. Yeah.
But Crawford just, I think that kind of limited what he could do because I think he is an actual D end. He just needs to bulk up a little bit and do that. But until he does, I have a 5th round grade on him.
I get that. Yeah. Like if you're projecting him to have to do that stuff to be valuable, I get that for sure. Did you watch him, Jake?
Yeah. I watched a little bit when I was watching Falk, but I didn't really watch him too much.
That's fair. Yeah. He's an interesting watch. Like again, the way Dalton talked about him, I get because like he was used in a way where I'm like, if he's gonna do that in the NFL, I think he does need to probably just get more pass rush bag to him because he's not a dominant pass rusher. So when he is get used like all over the place, like you want him to be really effective when he is playing a true edge spot, and he just isn't always there. Like it wasn't always there at Auburn, but that could just be like you said, the way he was used overall. Dalton. So, but he's an interesting guy. I wanted to make sure I talked about. But Dalton, who's your first guy you want to talk about?
My honorable mention, and I didn't put him in my top 10. Denied Dennis Sutton.
Yep, he's just outside too, and I wonder if it's for the same reason. But go ahead.
So he's 11 for me, and I mean, I love the frame. I mean, 6'5", 265, and like the speed to power is a problem. And I also love the way he uses that to set up a lot of other things. Like he doesn't just, I mean, he can sometimes over rely on it, but he does. He uses it enough to be a threat, and then just every now and again, he just pulls something else out and just blows by guys. And I think he should do that a little bit more, honestly. And, like, that's the thing. Like, the reason why I did like him a lot in this group, not quite enough to put him in my top 10, I'll get to that in a second, but he's one of the few guys I watched that actually I felt like consistently had a plan when he was rushing the quarterback. Like he actually has reasons knows what he wants to do beforehand, has reasons for what he wants to do, has counters for when it doesn't work to an extent. But like there was some actual nuance to his pass rushing game, and it wasn't just, I'm just going to try to blow through this guy, or I'm going to try a hand swipe and go. But I'm sure you'll mention this. There's just no bend.
No.
There's not, the first step is just not where it needs to be to consistently get home as a pass rusher. the pad level needs to come down, and like the problem is he's not an outside linebacker. He is more of a true defensive end, and so I just worry where the ceiling is for him. Like the things that are issues for him, I don't know if they're things that he can get better at.
That's so. I'll step in because he was a guy, one of the last guys I watched, and I was very curious if I'd like him. And he ended up 13 for me. Out of the 14 guys I watched, and it was mostly just because, like you said, I think he's a smart player. I think he knows how to win as a pass rusher. I just don't know if he's going to be able to win as consistently in the NFL using what he is good at right now because the bend just doesn't exist. Like, let's just be honest. Like, that's the problem with him ultimately. And when you have a 6'5", 265 frame, sometimes you're going to be that type of player. And some of the guys I have ahead of him that are in a similar like weight class and size profile, they don't necessarily have great bend, but they have enough of it for me to say that it's not a complete wash if they try to use it as a weapon. He just simply doesn't have it, and I don't think that that's, like you said, going to change at the next level, obviously. And yeah, he's long arms. He's about as well built as you could possibly ask a guy to be, but he doesn't have the get off that you want. He doesn't have the bend to make up for that, even if he didn't have it. He's a smart pass rusher, but I don't think he's an athletic enough one overall to really get home consistently at the NFL level, despite the fact that he does have flashes of being able to do it at the college level.
Yeah.
It's just a tough ask. Like, I don't know what his role is going to be ultimately, because I think he's a good enough run defender to be like an early down player, but is he ever really going to rush the passer consistently? I just don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, he was number 12 for me.
So we're all
kind
in
of
the
same boat with
yeah,
you guys.
same
Yeah,
boat.
I agree pretty much with what you guys said. You could tell when you watch him that he knows like what he needs to do, and he's good with his hands, and he can win around the edge with some arm moves, which helps with that lack of athleticism. But I just kind of like Shane said, I just worry about how limited he might be at the next level. Like he doesn't get off the ball quick. You guys mentioned the bend plenty, which isn't there. The pad level is a little high, and I also noted I feel like there were a lot of times where he might have a sack or like a runner in the backfield, and he just didn't make the tackle.
Yep.
So I don't know if that's I don't think he has bad technique. That might just be an athletic thing, but I don't know. That was just another thing I noted. So like I do like him because he has a good plan and he knows what he's doing at the position. I just don't know how much he's going to be able to do physically at the NFL level.
Yeah, I think last year a lot of those plays he chased the quarterback into Abdul Carter, and then this year the quarterback just stepped up.
Yeah, he just chased him nowhere because there wasn't anyone to clean. Like, and again, like there's a place for a player that can create push and can kind of do that type of stuff for you, but I just don't know how high you draft him. Right? Yeah. Like I have a late day 2 grade on him. I think he's a guy that you draft and you hope that can be a contributor on rundowns and can push the pocket as a pass rusher. Because even the speed to power stuff, like he flashes it, I don't know if he's going to do that against tackles in the NFL. Like I think they're going to cut him off before he can get to that move because he doesn't have the get off to kind of manufacture that, despite some of the other issues he has. So he's a guy I'm very curious to see how he tests too at the combine. Because like that could maybe change the minds of some people if he tests better than expected, especially in the explosive stuff. But I don't know. I didn't really see it this past year. So
he has the explosion. He is like explosive, like as a mover. It's just off the ball. He just doesn't time the snap well, or just doesn't. That first step's not super fast. I think part of it is because he is like setting stuff up. I don't know, but yeah.
Just I didn't see it much with him with the first step, and like that's why if he does test much better than I'm expecting, that is going to then come into question of like, is it coaching? Is it the way he's trying to do things? Because like that was an issue. It's a different position, but like Gavon Dexter, if you guys remember a couple years ago from Florida, he had like the slowest get off in the history of the sport. But it was as soon as he got to the NFL, it was like normal because he wasn't doing whatever weird shit Florida was having him do. So like maybe that's what it is. But I also haven't seen that problem with any other Penn State edge rusher. So like, if it's just him doing it, then like
Yeah, I don't think
Stop.
that's it. I
Like,
think
stop doing it.
he doesn't have. Yeah,
Yeah,
I
it
just
doesn't-
don't think
I
he
don't know.
has it.
It's weird, but I'm very curious to see what he looks like though at the combine. Any other honorable mentions? I already mentioned Keldrick Falk is outside of my top 10 because of where I'm ranking him as an interior player, which I believe I have to go back and double check, but I think he'd be either third or fourth if I moved him inside with projecting him with the interior. But he's a guy that we can definitely talk about once we get to him with your rankings, because I'm sure you guys will have him in your top 10.
Yeah.
So, but other than that, any other guys you want to throw out there before we kind of jump
I don't think, because the only other guy I think is going to be in somebody's top 10.
Gotcha. Yeah, I think I
No.
know who you're talking about. Yeah,
Especially if we're talking about slow first steps.
we'll get there. So actually, Jake, who do you have at 10 then? Because I want to have you kick us off here.
At 10, I have Derek Moore.
Me too.
Mm.
Oh,
I have Derek Moore at 10 as well. So, and I already know Dalton, you have him outside of your top 10, right?
Yeah, I just,
Okay.
I don't know.
Okay, just want to make sure, because I thought that was the case from what you said before, but I didn't want to step on you before you let me know for sure. But
Yeah.
Jake, you go ahead and start with him then.
Yeah, I get the pessimism there. I do have some concerns, but he just does enough things well that he squeaked into the top 10 for me. I thought, especially in 2025, I thought he got quicker off the line of scrimmage, where he can kind of rush up the edge and get tackles to open their hips. And then once they do that, he's not the most powerful rusher, but he's good at, I guess you'd say, turning speed to power.
Yes.
Where he can kind of jump on tackles. He's pretty good with his hands. He's not super strong with them, but he knows where to place them and how to beat offensive linemen with them. He doesn't really struggle with that too much. I liked him dropping into coverage on film. He has enough athleticism to make it work there.
Mm-hmm.
And his speed is solid. It wasn't anything great, but I did note that as well. My main questions with him are just kind of as a run defender.
Yep.
He can turn speed to power, but I don't know how powerful he is in general. Like, he kind of got taken out of plays a little too often for my liking, especially in like big run situations. And he uses his hands well, but they, at least on film, they didn't look super strong to me. So he's not really putting too much of a jolt into offensive linemen. And then he just doesn't really get that much extension against tackles either. And then the last thing I noted for concern was his bend. Like, I don't think it's a huge issue, but I did think he struggled with that a little bit. So he's a guy where, like, I'm confident in the skill set that he has, because he does enough things well to get reps, but I'm just worried about him not defending the run well enough to be like an every down type of player.
I'm kind of lockstep, which makes sense because we both have him at 10. I think he is a designated pass rusher at the next level. I think he's a guy that can win with speed and power. I think that his ability to bull rush guys, despite not having the best play strength, like when he lines everything up, he can really bull rush somebody back to the quarterback. I think he has really good inside counter. Whenever he does get that to work on somebody, he can get them to overset and then give up the inside shoulder. Like, he has some of the stuff that you want from a guy who's going to come in on third downs and play like 20, 30 snaps and then give you that pass rush ability. The problem ultimately, like you said, is I don't think he's a 3-down player, especially right away. Like, could he theoretically? I guess, because he has added a little bit of strength, I think, compared to last year. But the play strength just isn't really great. The hand usage is fine, but it needs to be better if he's going to be good against the run, because he doesn't have heavy hands. I don't think he can really rock tackle back and kind of reestablish the line of scrimmage in that way. If that doesn't come along, he is going to be limited to that role, right? And in a class like this, where there's a lot of guys that can kind of do that already, he's not quite as good as I think of some of the other guys that are going to be more of those DPR types. So he ends up at 10 for me, opposed to some of the guys ahead of him. So.
Yeah, I think you mentioned this term last week. I forget if it was on the show or if it was after the show, Shane, but he definitely falls into the category of tweener derogatory.
A little bit. I get what you're saying, I think, yeah.
I think, and it's weird watching like his tape from last year to this year, because last year he jumped off the screen as like this dynamic athlete, and I feel like he tried to put on a little bit of weight to play up
For
more on the
functional
line of
strength,
scrimmage,
yeah.
and I do feel like it slowed him down a little bit or made him a little clunkier, especially in coverage.
Yes.
And now I just don't know what he is, because I just don't know if he can do outside linebacker things, and I don't know if he can do D-end things. I just don't know where he's going to be. But like, there is a lot to like, and like the tape is the tape. Like, he is productive and he is a good rusher, and I do think he moves well enough in coverage to survive as like an outside linebacker, possibly. But I do think, yeah, for right now, designated pass rusher, maybe somebody that plays a little bit more outside linebacker in the right scheme. But yeah, I have a 4th round grade on him right now, just because I just don't know if you can only ever see him playing 20 snaps a game. Do you really take him in the first 2 days? That's kind of my issue.
Right, and I think that's the crux of the issue. Is I think there's a couple guys in this class that like I don't know if they're good enough run defenders where I'd love playing them more than like half the snaps, but they also might be able to survive if there's other guys on the team that can handle some of that stuff for them, so that they can do that. And that's just situational based is the problem in that situation. But with Moore, like you said, I think that ideally he's a 3-4 outside linebacker who's a designated pass rusher who can develop enough in the run game and can add some strength, still compared to what he's already added, to be able to do that more. Because I think if he goes back the other way, he might be a little bit better as a designated pass rusher, but then that's literally all he'll ever be able to do.
Yeah.
Like there's really like kind of nowhere for him to go then if he does that route. So he's an interesting guy, but I think 10 is pretty fair for him in this class, especially if he can, again, play a little bit more than we're thinking he might be able to play. But
yeah.
Who was your number 10 then, Dalton?
So my number 10, I was kind of surprised he fell this far, but Jackass. Gabe Jackass.
Okay, so
he was 9 for me.
He was a fun watch. He's 8 for me, so we're kind of all in a row.
Right around the same page.
I expected to like him a lot more.
Yes.
And then there was an issue that I'm sure you're going to bring up here in a second, Dalton.
Yeah.
That Jake, you're also going to bring up, and I'm certainly going to bring up, that pisses me off.
Yeah.
And we're going to get into it, but that's fun that he's number 10 for you. Go ahead.
So, I mean, one of the things that I really like about him that really made me want to like him more is a wrestling background, and you see it on tape.
You certainly do.
And like, honestly, I do think like wrestlers are like, that's a great trait for any offensive or defensive line.
If you're in the trenches, it's almost always good when you are, like almost always.
And I mean, obviously the first thing is like speed to power. Holy shit.
Yeah.
Holy
shit. Yeah.
Like I would never want to block. Like
no
I
shot.
would never ever want to be lined up across from this man, just because that bull rush is terrifying.
Roadkill Central out there.
He's just so explosive and he's so strong. And I do think at 6'3", 270, there's a lot of alignment versatility. Yeah. Also, weirdly athletic. Like,
I wanted to throw out there, he was 260 at the Senior Bowl, so I wonder if he's trying to go even closer to that like normal sized edge profile.
Yeah, I don't know why he would do that. I like the idea.
I don't think he needed to, but yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I think 265, 270.
That's fine.
And you can line him up anywhere on the front seven, and like you have to constantly worry about him running through your tackle's face, and then also he might occasionally just drop into coverage and probably accidentally fall into an interception because you just forget that he's there. Yeah, I think that's a lot to like. But then the one issue that I think is going to really come up is that, I talked about how great that bull rush he has. That's his only move. It's the only move he has. Like, there's literally nothing else to his game. It is just bull rush, bull rush, bull rush. Now, it's great.
He desperately, and I'll let you go in a second, Jake, because you have him at 9. I have him a little bit higher. He desperately needs an inside counter consistently. Like that. Like if he added that, I don't know how you would block him on most snaps.
I know.
Which, like, I know it should be like inside counter. It's like, oh, it should be simple. It's like it's never that simple though. Unfortunately, it's never a guarantee. However, that is an issue. My biggest issue, and I feel like Jake, you're going to agree with me on this one too, and I'm sure you also do, Dylan. You just wanted to talk about his pass rushing. Complete disinterest in defending the run.
Yeah, that.
It just I don't.
They took him off the
understand it.
field.
That's the thing. I didn't see it. That was the thing. I didn't really see him play against the run because he never did it.
They took him off, especially in like big
key situations.
There was one game I was watching, and I was just like, he's like not.
He's not here.
Field in run plays.
No,
and I looked at like the game log.
Yeah,
and he just like wasn't on the field for a while, especially in like key run plays.
Yeah, I'll admit I had to get broadcast footage of him. He was the one guy I couldn't get like actual tape. I had to watch like broadcast footage of him. So like I'm watching all the defensive snaps for the entire game, and I'm like, wait a second, he's just not on the field.
Where did he go?
Like for long stretches.
Yeah, it's true. But go ahead, Jake, because I think you and I are on the same page on that.
Like he's not on the field at all.
Kids, they ran the hell of the ball.
Also, like a lot of his issues, though, I do wonder. I'm now remembering the tape. Brett Bielema was cooked.
Yeah, he's kind of cooked, unfortunately.
He is so cooked. That defense looked so horribly coached last year. Like, I don't know if you guys noticed how many plays there were where the ball snapped, or where the entire Illinois defense is looking at the sideline for the call.
No clue the ball's
being
coming.
Snapped.
No idea the ball. Like I was like, why? What are you doing? The offense is lined up.
How is this happening?
The offense is lined up to play. Why are you? Anyway, yeah.
There's guys like the Indiana one was so bad. Like
it's terrible. Worst game I've seen.
The Surratt touchdown where the safety that's covering him is like 2 yards deep in the end zone when they're on the 10-yard line.
So
and Surratt just and gives him like the leverage, inside leverage. The safety's lined up inside, and literally Surratt just runs to the goal line and runs it out and walks in.
Incredible stuff from the Illinois Fighting Illini.
It's so bad, and I wonder like if that impacted Jacques though a little
bit. It might have.
Maybe.
By the way, just throwing this out there, it is Akis for everyone at home.
Oh, it is Jacques?
It's Akis, so not even the J. It's
just Akis.
Yeah, silent J out there. I kind of like it because it's just easier to say, in my opinion. Just Akis. Anyway, Jake, I want to hear your thoughts on it because that's
Yeah, I agree with you, Shane, wanting him to have more of an inside counter move because he's very good at like cutting across offensive linemen. Like he can change direction.
He's got the agility. Yeah, he can.
Yeah,
change gaps and
he can turn speed to power. So if he could really develop a move like that, I think it'd make him a lot more dangerous. He doesn't get off the line super slow, but I think he would be helped if he could get off the line a little faster,
just a tad bit maybe.
And
maybe kind of looking at the sideline.
Yeah, maybe honestly, you could make the argument that's maybe the biggest problem is he lines up like with a half a second before the ball snaps sometimes. Jesus Christ. Anyway.
Yeah, that was truly one of the more interesting defenses to watch. Like during this whole thing. But yeah, he's got to have more of a pass rush plan. As Dalton said, the bull rush is kind of
as sick as it is. You would like him to see something else.
It is a sick bull rush. I mean, he's like he brings the power. He's pretty quick for his size.
Yes.
Got a good motor. Like he gets a lot of coverage sacks, and he was pretty productive in college too. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, he just isn't on the field on big running plays. He turns speed to power really well, but I just don't really see it when he's like taking on blocks. Like he doesn't take them on well. And he plays a little high also when he tries to take blocks, which I think is part of it.
Yeah.
Doesn't really set the edge consistently against the run. So I don't know. He's such an interesting guy, but I had too many concerns. I mean, we're all kind of in the same spot on him, but I had too many concerns any higher really.
I just hope that like he gets drafted by a team that's just going to coach the hell out of him and just be like, listen, man, like first of all, you can't play the run like this, and for my defense, you won't play. I'm sorry. Like you're straight up not going to play, and you are too big and too like athletic and strong to not play the run well. So you're gonna have to do it. I'm not just gonna DPR you. It's not happening. So I hope that he goes somewhere that does that for him, and then also can teach him literally just one counter move. Like just give me one. Honestly, I don't know if you need more than one. Frankly, like we've seen guys like if you have the trump card he has as a bull rusher, like you don't need to do a whole lot of other things well. Just give me something else. Yeah. Like you might get 10 sacks a year if you do one other thing. Like literally. Like that might be all you need. So I'm very curious to see what he looks like in the NFL. But because of some of the limitations and the things that he put on tape, like I couldn't really put him higher, even though I really wanted to. The bull rush pilling, which I certainly am at this point, I'm very much a power guy at this point. Wanted to put him higher, but I just kept seeing him like either not defend the run or literally not be out there to do it. And I'm like, I can't. Yeah. We can't do this, right? Like,
yeah,
that was really weird. How much they like. Is it a card? I just want to know if it's a cardio thing or if like he is just that awful against the run.
He wasn't good when he did play against it.
Yeah.
So like, I feel like it's got to be more of just that they're like, there's better guys on the team for this than you right now, which don't love that. But also like, is it feels like it has to be an effort and like coaching thing because he's too powerful to not be able to do it. Like it's not an inability to do it thing, right? Like you could argue that for some of these other guys. It's not the case for him. So I don't know, but we'll see with him. But Dalton, who do you have at
9? At 9, oh, did you already get your 10?
Yeah, my 10 was Derek Moore too.
Yeah. Oh, okay. So my 9 is Cassius Howell from Texas A&M.
Oh, nice. He's 3 for me.
Okay. So
oh really?
So this is very funny because he's 6 for me. We're literally 3-6 now. I think that's awesome.
Nice.
I think I definitely understand, and this is one of the guys I knew Dalton was going to not like as much as you and Jake and I would like. I knew he wasn't, and I get why. But there's a little part of me, and I think Jake's part of it is a little bigger part of him that wants him to just be Nick Herbig, and we're good with it. That's what I think.
I'm what they call a size.
That which in the NFL generally not a bad thing to kind of fall back on. I get it, but I can't. I wanted to like him less, and there's something about him that I liked a little. And now obviously Jake even more so. But yeah, Dalton, lead us off with him though.
Yeah, I'll go quick because like I mean I have second round grade on him to be clear.
Yeah.
It's not like I don't like 9 in this
it's
ranking
fine.
is
Yeah.
different. Like it's just like wide receivers.
Yeah.
Like if you're in this top 10, you're probably getting picked in the top 50.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like I mean the quickness is awesome and like he is surprisingly good against the run. The thing that I love is as a looper inside, he is just devastating. Like when you loop him inside on pass rushes, it's crazy. I think for me, the main reason why he's not a first round pick is I just worry about him being kind of a tweener. Mm-hmm. Also, there was a tendency to play a little out of control. And like, especially if you're going to have to do more outside linebacker things, you kind of need to like make sure you're where you need to be, rather than just being like, just more like on the line of scrimmage constantly and just being on that island where you can kind of do what you want a little bit more. He kind of, I don't know, he tends to lose control and lose where he's supposed to be at times. But when you hustle as much as he does, doesn't really matter. I just worry if he has the arm length too to play consistently on the edge. That's
why the Herb he's not. It's a little shorter apparently than her, at least reported shorter than Herbig. But that's where the Herbig conversation where I like why I brought him up because that was a lot of the reason why he was kind of viewed as maybe he'd have to play actual like legit off ball linebacker. Obviously not the case for him, but that is part of the equation with Hal for sure.
Yeah. I think with me, I feel really comfortable with his game translating to the NFL. Like there's just so many things that I think he does well. I mean, he's obviously a good athlete, but he has a lot of ways that he can win as a pass rusher. Like he has a leaner frame for sure, but he can still turn speed to power decently well. He has inside moves. He has a few counters. Like there's a variety of ways he can get there. The shorter arms, can make some of that harder at the NFL level, but I just think he has so many ways that he can get around linemen that I just feel pretty comfortable with that. He's got good bend, which I would hope he would with his frame, but I think he plays pretty physical. He was better against the run than I thought he was going to be, and that's kind of part of the reason I have him up so high. He can not as much against tackles, but against tight ends, he can set the edge well. He makes tackles in space. I liked what I saw from him dropping back into coverage. It wasn't terrific, but he looked comfortable there. And then he also he realizes when he's not going to win, and he'll get his hands up to bat passes down, which is another thing that I really liked. But really, I didn't really have too many concerns with him. I mean, obviously his frame is a little lean. You'd hope he could add some strength, but other than that, all my other concerns weren't super big. I know Dalton mentioned him looping inside against the pass. He kind of does that against the run a little bit, but it looks like he's just he takes a lot of chances, and
he's hunting for ways to impact
crazy
the run because he knows he can't necessarily just set the edge.
Yeah, that's a good way to describe it. So that ends up leaving gaps open at times and stuff, but I don't know. I don't really have any huge concerns besides just his frame, and I think there's so many things that he does well that have him higher up the list, and also he defended the run better than I thought he would, which is another reason I feel more confident.
Yeah, for me, I think it's pretty simple with him. I'll just read my notes on him. Classic 3-4 outside linebacker type. I think that is what he's going to have to be at the next level. Smooth mover with enough speed to threaten tackles outside shoulder. Has a solid mix of moves at his disposal, but not necessarily a dominant one, I don't think, which is part of why he ends up at 6 when he could have been maybe a little bit higher for me. Lack of size and length limit his ability to play the run consistently, but the tenacity and effort is there. Needs to improve his hand usage to better mask his arm length. Could end up as a DPR if the run defense technique isn't improved a little bit, I think, is kind of the biggest thing for me. So, but generally speaking, he's a guy that I would take at the end of the first round, personally. If you need someone who's just going to give you pass rush juice right off the bat and could develop into a full-time starter pretty quickly for you, again, if the run defense is good enough. The length is going to be the question with him. I am curious if it comes in under 31 like he was measured before. I'm assuming it's going to be similar. If it's above 31, you're getting closer to what Herbig's is. That will probably make it a little bit easier for teams to go, well, we've seen this before, right? Now, I'd argue Herbig's probably a better athlete by a little bit than him, but it's close enough that I think it's not a huge issue. But, yeah, 6 for me, still the end of the first round type of player. So,
yeah.
All right. I think the only person who hasn't given their 9 is me. And I'm curious where you guys have this player. He falls kind of in the same category as some of these other guys that we've talked about that might be probably are primarily, at least in my opinion, designated pass rusher types, especially right off the bat. Our Mason Thomas is a number 9 for me.
Oh, he's 7 for me.
Okay.
He was, I believe, he was not in my top 10. He was 13 for me.
Okay, so you're lower on him. Which, again, not surprised to see that be the case.
No. I get it. late third round. So, it's not
that big of a difference, but yeah. But it is. I didn't think. I honestly kind of felt like if anyone was going to have him in his top 10, it'd be Dalton. So it makes sense. I'm kind of so far. I'm on track.
Why?
So far, I'm on track with that. I will say I have been kind of keeping that track of that in my head. But Jake, you said you had him at 7, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'll start with him here. He's a fun player, but there's limits with him. I think a little bit. Sawed off build. For sure. Again, don't talk about being a size. It's very funny. That's part of the problem with him ultimately is he definitely is sawed off DPR type. Explosive movement skills both laterally and vertically. Has enough power and tenacity to occasionally hit a bull rush, but primarily wins with speed around the edge and an inside counter, working off the threat of that. Run defense is respectable for his size overall, but he is just smaller. He's never going to really hold up super well against the run, I don't think. Ceiling is going to be capped a little bit by the shorter arms and overall lack of size. Could he be like a Bryce Huff type? That's kind of, I think, the hope. like that level of player where it's like he's not an ideal everyday starter, but he can, give you a lot of pass rush use. That's kind of the book on him, in my opinion. But
Yeah, I have a little more concerns with him, just kind of against the run.
yeah, that's the
But
thing.
there is like he's a fun guy to watch. I mean, he's
Yeah.
super flexible and
Yeah,
athletic.
fun.
Like he has great bend.
He does, yes.
Gets off the line quick, changes direction quick. I do like that he has like a couple counter moves. Like they're not anything like super crazy, but
No.
he is able to win when his first move doesn't work. He has a good motor, and he does. I will say he plays the run physically. Like
it's not a lack of effort at all.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's one thing that I appreciate. But I mean, I just like his arms they look short on film, so I worry about him being able to kind of extend on linemen in the run game.
If I guess.
Yeah.
But we'll see.
So I kind of worry about him being able to shed blocks with that. He plays physical, but I don't think he has a ton of strength against the run.
Yeah.
And he has ankle injuries in both his ankles. So that is also something
that sucks too. Yeah. Never great when you're trying to be, bendy around the edge. You don't want to be hurt.
Yeah, which sucks because he has really good bend, but I do worry about having high ankle sprains in both your ankles. That was a little scary.
Yeah. I will say, like, the one thing I did like about him is, and like I read this and I was like, I don't know, I guess see if I actually see this trend, and I did see it. Fourth quarter, all his production is fourth quarter. Like he just takes over games, which is kind of part of why I think DPR is really going to be his role.
Oh yeah,
because like, I mean, you put him in that wide 9 spot, and he can get that head of steam and really get that bull rush going. He's a problem. Problem is, I just don't know what else he's going to do. Now, I do think the coverage might be good enough that you can have him out there as more of a as more of like an outside linebacker in the right scheme, and then just on third down, let him pin his ears back. But it's just, it's hard to know like what all he's going to be able to do at the next level.
Therein lies the issue. Yeah, he's probably going to be limited to some degree, but he is going to be fun, I think, for some.
Yeah,
if the right team gets a hold of him, he'll be at least effective on third down. So, but I believe I already gave my number 8. I think because that was Akis. So you guys still have your number 8s. Jake, why don't you give us your number 8 here?
So my number 8 is Zion Young.
Oh wow,
this will be
okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Dalton, where do you have him?
He is 6 for me.
Okay. He is, and let me make sure that I didn't swap them last second. He is 4 for me. So
okay.
Let me put
not super far apart.
No, not terribly far. I am, as I mentioned earlier, I am admittedly power pilled. At rushing, that's why he ends up probably a little bit higher for me than either of you. But Jake, why don't you kick us off then with him?
Yeah, I mean, he's a guy where, like, if you were to just see him on the street, not in uniform, you'd probably think he was an NFL edge rusher.
Yeah.
He has. It looks like he was like meant to play this position.
He certainly looks like it. Yeah.
Yeah, he's very strong, especially at the point of attack. He has long arms, so he can get extension on blocks. He kind of just destroys tight ends on film. Like they do not have fun trying to block.
They should really stop doing
There were so many times where like he would just annihilate a tight end, and I'm like,
okay. It's not great.
Yeah, he's strong in his legs. He can set the edge, and despite not being super athletic, he does keep his feet moving when he gets stopped, which is something I like. I thought his hands got a little better as his collegiate career went on. But he's not a ton of athleticism. I mean, he's not super quick off the line. He's not going to threaten you with speed. The bend is kind of there, but it's not great. His hands, like I thought I watched some film from 2024, and I thought they got better, but it's still going to be something he needs to work on.
Yeah.
And then there's also the off the field stuff.
That's the thing. I decided
it's kind of the
just to-
elephant in the room a little bit, but
I decided just to like let's. He can
yeah,
figure it
I
out.
didn't really factor that too much in my
But
rating, but it is
I
something
do
you kinda
worry
have to
about it
mention.
because
Yeah, he got in a fight in the tunnel and also got a DWI 2 weeks before bowl game.
yeah.
Which I mean, I guess bowl games don't really matter anymore, but
don't
still, like,
don't
probably don't
drink
do
and-
that.
Don't drink, and
Probably
drive,
don't.
folks.
Yeah, it's not good to do it.
Yeah, it fits a pattern of self-control issues though, because he's also had a lot of really costly penalties
Yeah,
too, and it's like you factor all of it in together, and yeah, I'll talk about it more.
it's a trend you don't want to set for yourself.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah.
Did you have anything else, Jake? Sorry, I didn't mean to.
No, that was pretty much it. Sorry.
Yeah, go ahead, dog, because you're
so
not
I think that kind of segues in what I want to say. Like a lot of pass rushers, I do think he is either going to be great or a bust. Like there is, it's one or the other. I mean, for every guy it works with, like a Micah Parsons, Abdul Carter. Now, they didn't have the off the field stuff as much, but we'll just like generally like weirder stuff. But like all these guys, I mean, obviously, like the best example is Lawrence Taylor, right? Like psychopath, horrible person off the field, but a freak on the field. But then there's also Randy Gregory, Mike Green. And yeah, I mean a little early on him, but
yeah,
still.
but still, we'll see. But not great.
Like that list is endless of those guys.
It is.
Like, and that's kind of that's why I just would be terrified of spending a first round pick on him. I have an early second. Like, if he is there on day 2, every GM should be on the phone trying to get pick 33 to take him. I think someone will take a chance on him at the back end of the first round. I wouldn't want to do it, just because I don't know. It just a first round pick's a pretty valuable asset in this draft, I think.
Yeah.
To possibly use on him, but if it weren't for that stuff, I mean, he'd be a fringe top 10 grade. He'd be a top 10 guy probably for me because he does everything fast and violent.
Yep.
Like it is just shocking, like the violence that he plays with, and he finds a lot of ways to win. And I think he is pretty disruptive in the run game. Like, I mean, obviously pass rush is going to be his calling card, but I do think like with how strong he is, and how long his arms are, he's able to do a lot of different things, and he's able to just kind of starch guys in the run game. And you can also line him up pretty much anywhere across the line of scrimmage. And so there's just so much that you can do. I mean, as a player, like he could very easily, it wouldn't surprise me if he turned out to be the best player in this class.
He's a ton of fun. He
or
is
the best player in this edge class.
Yeah, right. Yeah, he's a ton of fun for me to watch. Like this is the type of edge rusher that if we're not talking about like, because for me, like I think I have him more of like a top 20-ish player probably ultimately in this class. I think the thing that's holding me back from ranking him even higher than 4, besides just potentially the off-field stuff and character concerns, the lack of elite bend, especially. I think he bends enough for his play style. I think he can occasionally get the corner on tackles, but he's so powerful it doesn't really matter too much. But I'd like to see a little bit more of that from him. It'd be great if he had it, because I think some of the guys ahead of him either have more of that like trump card type of thing, whereas he's very good at a lot of things. But he feels like if his head stays on straight, this is a like 7+ year starting edge in the NFL who at worst is going to be your number 2 like power rushing type of guy that can set the edge really well for you. Like he has a really high floor, assuming the craziness aspect, like you said, doesn't really make him bottom out quickly and that he can actually stay in the league for a long time. But the power, the strength that he plays with, again, long arms, he is a prototype as far as a power rusher goes. Like it doesn't get a whole lot better from a build perspective in this guy. Right. So have him at 4. And in certain classes, he'd probably be closer to 1 or 2, honestly. But I do like this class enough where I think the guys ahead of him have a little bit over him in some ways. So, but definitely a lot of fun here.
Yeah.
And then I believe then you are up then, Dalton, for 8, I think,
Yeah.
right?
Curious where this is another guy that like I wanted to like more. I'm curious where you guys have him. Joshua Joseph from Tennessee.
So I have him outside of my top 10 for specific reason. We'll get to it. So not in my top 10. Where do you have him, Jake?
Sorry, I cut out for a second. Who?
Joshua Josephs.
Oh, he was honorable mention for me.
Okay, me too.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so,
Okay. Yeah, I mean, this is probably where he's in my top 10 because of traits.
Yeah.
But like, I mean, the arm length is just insane. And the arm length plus the crazy explosiveness, there's just so much potential there for me. And the way he uses that leverage, and then he also like takes advantage of that first step to counter really well, which is kind of why he's a little higher than Jackus for me, or Akis. That's going to take a while for me to get used to saying.
Yeah.
Also, like, because he is a little skinny at 6'3", 240, it is nice to see that he has, like, adequate coverage skills to do some outside linebacker stuff. Stronger than you'd expect for 6'3", 240. I am just curious if he is a 3-down guy eventually. I don't think right away he is. Because he is, like, still a little bit of a liability against the run. I think he might be more of an a pure outside linebacker. But on 3rd down, if you get him on an island with most NFL tackles, I think his speed and length is just gonna give them a lot of issues.
Yeah.
Yeah, the traits are fun, but there's 2 problems on why he ultimately doesn't land in my top 10. Like a lot of Tennessee players, he just doesn't play. And when I say he doesn't play, I don't mean he's injured. I mean he doesn't play snaps because no one plays snaps for Tennessee. They all play like 30% of the snaps.
Yeah.
So he hasn't had a lot of time and really reps to develop as a player at the college level. And he kind of feels like he's been kind of the same guy for the most part, from what I've been able to tell as far as guys' opinion of him. I think he is going to be a designated pass rusher type. I think he's a pure outside linebacker in a 3-4 scheme type of pass rusher at least. The coverage stuff, like I think it's possible he's good at it, but he's played like less than 100 coverage snaps over all 4 years because he doesn't play snaps again. It's just hard for me to like know what I'm getting with this player because he just didn't play a lot. And the flashes he shows is really good, and he could end up being in the same boat as some of the guys I have like from like 7 to 10. So he might end up having a similar like career and similar profile. But the more I watched him, I'm like, is this really all I'm gonna get to see of him? Like, is this all like?
Yeah,
it's just weird. Like, it is. I don't even want to blame him for it. I legitimately don't really know what to do with him because I'm like, there's traits there, but he's skinnier than a lot of these guys. He's not quite as polished as a lot of these guys because he hasn't played a ton. I just didn't know what to do with him really for the most part. So, yeah,
that's kind of why he's out of mine. He was 12 for me. He you love what he can do rushing the passer, but I just worry that his game might be a little too one-dimensional in that regard. Like he has long arms and he uses them well, like really well rushing the passer. Gets off the ball quick. He's very twitchy. Like he has a plan. He sets up his moves well, but for some reason, when I watch him take on blocks against the run, I feel like he doesn't extend his arms quite as much. Like he doesn't.
Yeah, the length doesn't show up as much.
It's. I don't know if it's just when he's taking on blocks, but it's. He kind of just struggles to get off of them. Kind of struggles to set the edge a little bit. I don't know. I just worry about his overall like strength and size and being able to defend the run consistently. I had too many worries there to have him in my top 10, unfortunately.
Yeah, fair enough. So it takes us up through 7. I think I don't have my number 7 mentioned, I don't think, and then I forget which one of you already said your 7.
I had R. Mason Thomas.
Gotcha, okay, so 7. So it's Dalton and I. So I'll go first here. I wonder if this guy's going to be – he's probably going to be around the same range for you guys, just based on where we're at this point, but I'm curious how much higher. I have T.J. Parker at 7.
He was 5.
Okay, I have him he's 4 for me.
Where'd you have him, Dalton?
5.
5, okay. I figured it was going to be around that range. So I like T.J. Parker a lot. He's very top of the second round type of player for me is where I'd love to draft him. I think ultimately, if you look at him this year, that's where I put him. I think if you combine the tape from 2024 and 2025, I think you could definitely make a good argument for him to go in the back half of the first round. I just don't really know which tape to trust because this kind of thing happened with Miles Murphy a few years ago, where he was really good the year before he was drafted and not so much the year he was. And it kind of took him a while. And even now, he never really truly got back to that player. Something about these Clemson guys, man. I don't know what the hell happened this year, but none of them seem to be as good as they were a year ago. And, to me, I think he was a little stiffer on tape this past year. Maybe he added some weight to his frame, and, maybe that's okay if he wants to be that type of player. But he's a power first player in both the run and pass game, I think, right now. Good overall athlete, with a strong bull rush, solid hand usage, plays the run strong thanks to his heavy hands and good size. Lacks the agility and overall burst, though, to consistently threaten the corner. At least he did this year. Again, I think he did a little bit better of that the year prior. Didn't show as much bend even really. Again, the stiffness is what kind of threw me off a little bit compared to what I saw from him in 2024. Not that he was overly bendy or explosive, but he was more so, I think, in 2024. And I think he needs to add some more counters to kind of help his rush plan. But he, to me, feels like a really safe, number 2 pass rusher for a long time for a team. And that you can get probably end of first, early second.
Yeah, I before I watched this film, I looked at his stats, and 2024, he had, if I remember correctly, he had 19 and a half tackles for a loss and 11 sacks. And then 2025, he had 5 sacks.
And 3 of them were against South Carolina.
Yeah. but
he didn't finish plays as often, yeah.
No, but I think part of that, I watched his 2024 film a couple games, and then I watched his 2025 film, and I think teams kind of just saw his 2024 performance and put a lot more effort towards
they did
him. I think I think part of the reason for that drop is he got a lot more chips and double teams and stuff, which you would like to see him overcome that a little more often, but it wasn't quite it wasn't a huge worry for me. But I mean, there are some limitations to his game. As you said, he definitely needs a counter move. I mean, it's just not really there. He also, I think, would get a lot more sacks if he could bend, because there was a lot of times.
Yeah, the bend just wasn't. Great,
yeah. Even though he's not super quick off the line, he can get around the edge because he's really good on first contact with his hands. He's great at just batting down.
Yeah,
he's on the edge, but he doesn't have the bend to get there, and it's so frustrating. He gets there, and there's a few sacks, especially last year, where if he was just a little more flexible, I think he gets there. But yeah, plays a little bit high sometimes, but it's not too bad. Although he's not the most athletic guy, he doesn't fly off the ball, he does move pretty quickly side to side and laterally. He can change direction quickly. I know part of the reason he's higher for me, I'm very confident in his ability to defend the run. I think that's something that'll translate well.
Yeah, me too.
He can shed blocks really well. There's a few times on film where he just throws a defender out of the way. And then finally, I kind of a smaller note a little bit, but I really liked watching him in pass coverage. Both man and zone.
He does some good stuff there.
There was a game against Louisville where he he's in man coverage with the running back, and from the line of scrimmage, he just follows the running back all for 7 seconds, which you're not going to see a lot of even linebackers, let alone edge
rushers.
So,
he's weird in that regard a little bit, but yeah.
Yeah, and there was another play against I think it was LSU. It was kind of just a bad decision by Garrett Nussmeier, but
no way.
Garrett Nussmeier made a bad decision.
Garrett Nussmeier? No chance.
Well, if you watch the film, it was a terrible decision, but it's he's on the edge and there's a receiver in the slot running an out, and you can just see on the film he knows the play that's coming. He just has the flat in that play, and he gets out there and makes a play on the ball. he anticipates things in zone coverage, and he has enough change of direction to stick in man coverage. So that was like, I was actually really surprised by that. Like, it was better than most edge rushers that you see. So there are limitations there, but I just thought, like, I know he's going to be good against the run. And I think if he can just put together some counter moves, I mean, the bend probably won't get better, but I don't know. I just feel pretty comfortable with how his game will translate.
Yeah, I think that's kind of where I'm at. That's why I've almost still like run the same spot as you, Jake. I have a first round grade on him because I'm just gonna bet on the traits, like the physical profile and the athleticism and the power. I just think that, like, I mean, I'm the same way. I was higher on Peter Woods too. I just think that those Clemson guys just realized they weren't going to compete for a championship, and they're just kind of like, we're sick of this. Like,
Maybe.
we don't really care
there's
about
an element of that. It's like hard to quantify, but I think
Yeah.
that would make sense with this.
And I just also think they weren't coached well. Like, also, as good as TJ Parker is in coverage, why are we dropping TJ Parker into coverage that much?
Yeah, it's a little
Yeah,
weird,
it did happen
right?
a lot.
It's like I don't know
Like,
about
he could
that.
do it, but there was some times where I'm like, okay, this is like the
Yeah,
way
it's
too
also, but
often.
it's also like who's rushing the passer for you then right now? Like, you
Yeah.
know, like I just don't know.
Yeah. And, like, I don't know, they would put, like, he and Woods would be, like, right next to each other a lot. And it's
Mhm.
like, spread those guys out a little bit so that way they both can get doubled instead of one guy being able to help with both of them. Like, there are a lot of decisions that just didn't make a lot of sense for me.
Dabo is cooked is the main
Well,
thing
yeah.
we're saying here. Yeah,
Dabo's been cooked.
yeah, he's
But yeah, also like the ball disruption ability, like he is a turnover machine, and like to
definitely
yeah.
was in 2024 for sure. Yeah,
He had 6 forced fumbles in 2024.
yeah,
Yeah.
like that's
That's
on his tape.
crazy.
It's hard to ignore.
and I know like it just didn't happen this year. I just think like I don't know, and like the effort does seem to be a concern, but like I don't know. I just my main concern is he's just laid off the snap. That's probably my biggest concern with him. The get off not being there because it's going to make the physical tools less
Impactful,
valuable and impactful. So I don't know, but I'm going to bet that he puts it together. And at the end of the day, like worst case scenario with him is he becomes a really, really good 4 technique.
Yeah, honestly, kind of like that's like just stick him at 4. I'm like, good luck, have fun with that.
Yeah.
Like it could be worse, right? But like again, I have him like I would prefer to take him at the top of the second round, but I know a team is probably going to take him at the back end of the first. I think it's fine. Like I don't have a problem with that. So I think we're pretty close to each other on that one. Who's your number 7 then, Dalton?
My number 7 is Akeem Mesidor.
Okay, he's number 5 for me.
Same.
Okay,
all right.
So
yeah, I might have dinged him a little bit more for age.
That's kind of what. So yeah, we'll talk about it, but you go first here since you're kicking us off.
So I have an early second round grade on him. He is my first guy off the board. He is my first guy off the board in round 2. First guy off the board in round 2. Sorry, yeah, I had Young. I think I misspoke with Young. I have Young with a late first.
Yeah,
with a late first. And then right behind him, I have Mesidor with an early second. And I mean, just, the mass is awesome at 6'3", 280, yet how explosive he is despite being 280 is
I do
incredible.
think he's, by the way, 260 is what his updated weight was.
Oh, okay. So he's
just so you know, it's
not
not
265.
Yeah, like 260, 265. So I think what he actually played out.
That makes a lot more sense.
Right. Yeah.
Because I saw 280 listed, I was like, holy fuck.
Yeah, he was 280, I think, last year, but I think he got down to like 265.
That's fair. That's probably good.
Smarter for him. Yeah.
Yeah. But I'll tell you what,
Yeah.
It didn't affect his run support.
Nope.
Which is fantastic. He is great against the run. Just has such a high motor. But again, I think the big thing is how much of it is his physical tools, because he doesn't really have a lot of counter moves. And I just don't know if with him slimming down, is he going to be big enough to play inside at the next level, or is he just going to be like a pure 4? Is he I just don't know if he is a chess piece that you can move anywhere, or if he is just a pure 4 or 5 technique. That's kind of where I'm just not sure what you do with him. And it's hard to like say, okay, well, we can put a plan together and develop him because he's 25, or he'll be 25 on like
Yeah.
Yeah, shortly here in about a month and a half, I believe.
Yeah. It'll be before draft day. Like, that's the thing. Like, you're drafting a 25-year-old. Like, you're drafting a grown man with a family, probably. I don't know. Like,
probably. You said,
but,
Jake,
like,
did you have him at 5'2"?
issue.
You said?
Yeah, he's a 5 for me.
Okay. Yeah, like, I don't really disagree with too much of that. Like, I think he's a very, very good pass rusher right now. Like, a very good one. And I think he is a good run defender as well at his size as well. But is there anything more to him coming? Or is just what he is? Because I think just off of the film this year, you could argue he's a top 3 player in his position in the draft. But he's 25 years old, or going to be.
Yeah.
And how do you reconcile
guys
that?
Up there 21.
Exactly. They have more runway to improve, and it's not that they're like a lot worse than him or something like that. He's just, again, he's already really good right now. If he doesn't get any better, he's going to be a really good number 2 for somebody, right? Like, I think he's already at that level. Do I think he could be a 1? If he was 21, I'd probably say yes, that he will be a 1 at some point. I don't know if I can say that because he's still going to be 25. Like, I just don't know. Like, and by the time he is, will he be 28? How much do you pay a 29-year-old pass rusher on a first-second contract when he's 29 in a second? I just don't know what you do with that. So, like, it's a weird. Certain teams, I'm gonna say, like, if the Lions like traded down and took him like in the 20s because they just want someone they can trust to play opposite of Aiden Hutchinson, because their timeline is not 5 years from now anyway. Sure. But, like, there's a lot of teams where I'm like, why would you take that guy in the first round when you could take someone who's arguably in the same tier as him right now anyway, but is not 25 years old? And therein lies the problem.
Yeah, I mean, in like 2 months, he's gonna be the same age as Aiden Hutchinson, which is kind of
not awesome.
Not what you want to.
That's just not great.
When I was doing my notes for him, I was just kind of looking at other edge rushers who are 25 right now and who have just had so much more time. Like, it's just, I like kind of just wish he wasn't 25. I mean, we've said that so many times now, but like, that's one of my bigger concerns, because he does do a lot of things well. Like, he's very quick, and he can change directions quickly, and he does a really good job of setting up tackles to change direction. He uses his hands well, rushing the passer. He has a good couple of moves, good bend, but yeah, it's like, how much, you guys have pretty much said already, but how much more is he going to grow? You know,
that's the thing.
You know that he's more of a safe pick, and that's why I have him at 5, because you know that he will do some things well at the NFL level. But I mean, I don't think he uses his hands quite as well against the run. Like, I don't think he gets off blocks too well. He, against both the run and the pass, he loves to cut inside, which works sometimes, but he does not like to set the edge. Like, he can do it, but he just like he's
trying to make plays.
Yeah,
trying to make plays.
Yeah,
which I can respect.
That'll be coached out of him a little bit at the NFL level, but like, I would have just liked to see him set the edge more in general. He loses contain a decent amount. And yeah, I don't like, at the age of 25, I don't know how much better those things are going to get.
Yeah. That's the book on Mesidor, I think. Like, he's a fun player, but again, I wish he wasn't going to be 25 years old. He's about to be too old for Leonardo DiCaprio before he even gets into the NFL. What the hell? That's crazy. Normally, those guys have a couple. No, anyway. At this point, I forget who needs to say their number 6, but who does need to say their number 6? So.
I have mine still.
Okay. That's what I thought.
Mine was Zionio.
I thought so. Yeah. Okay. So Jake, who's your number 6?
My number 6 is Keldrick Fault.
Okay.
Ooh.
Who's your number, or who's that? Where's Keldrick
He
Fault
is 4 for me.
Okay. Cool. All right. So again,
you didn't have him in yours.
Yeah, he is not in my top 10 because I think he is going to be a 5 tech, and that's where I would play him. But
yeah, and I totally get that.
Yeah.
He can play a lot of different places, which is
Mhm.
one thing I like about
He
him.
did.
But I just don't know how good it's going to be as an edge rusher. I just was kind of disappointed watching his film. I
Mhm.
expected a little bit more. He does do a lot of things well. He plays the run well. Really good against pullers. Really good at shedding blocks. He has long arms, which help him get extension there and shed blocks. He plays strong. I feel like he's gonna be limited. Like, I don't know. He doesn't have a lot of bend in his upper or lower body. I don't really like how he uses his hands as a pass rusher. He kind of, there's a lot of times on film where he'll kind of run at defenders and not really do anything with his hand, or not defenders, linemen, and not do anything with his hands, and he'll like let them make first contact with his hands, which I don't like. He's not going to threaten you with speed, and like he has the strength to bull rush, but he doesn't get off the ball very quickly, which kind of negates it a little bit. He does have some good moves with his hands. Like I don't hate how he uses them because he has like a good rip move. He can do a swim move. He can win there. It's just like he almost looks a little complacent with them. Like I don't really know how to describe it, but there are so many times on film where he just doesn't make first contact, which I don't understand. I know a lot of people are higher on him, and I do think he does enough well to have a pretty high floor. Like I know that he'll play the run well, and I think if he can start to put things together a little bit as a pass rusher, it can help. But he just isn't very athletic, and the more I think about it, he kind of does feel like somebody who might be better off putting on weight and going on the inside. And like he still can succeed as an edge rusher, but like I really don't hate that idea because I wasn't super impressed watching his film, I guess, or at least not as much as I thought I'd be.
Yeah, on the arm thing, I know you have a little bit different of a take on him, Shane. So I have some more things to take, and then
I want to let you go first. Yeah.
So I just imagine having 3-foot long arms, and then deciding to basically Naruto run right at the tackle.
It's incredible, right? It makes no.
It makes
what
no
is
sense.
he doing?
Like, why wouldn't you use that? Like, he just runs right.
What is he doing?
And despite that, that was pretty much the main reason why I didn't have him in my top 10, or have him a top. I don't have a top 10 grade on him. He is 4 for me. He is first round grade for sure. Because I mean, Jake, you mentioned defending the run. Like he defends the run hard, and it's like he already has that base. And like at 6'6", 285, I just think there's a lot he could do as a pass rusher, like the speed to power. There's flashes of it. And like I think there's just so much that you could move where you can move him around. I do think he can still be a really dominant edge rusher. And one of the things I think he can still learn to use his length. This is a big thing because important to note, he's not going to turn 21 until September.
Very young. Very young.
Yeah. And like at that point, like I think you get him on an NFL team and you can coach him a little bit. I think there's just so much potential. Like he probably has the highest ceiling in this whole class. Just because like as a pure like defensive end, like especially if you're trying to like get like a true 4-3 like 4-man, like if you're running a 4-man front, he is like a ideal defensive end. And there's just so much potential to what he could do. And I just think a lot of the things that he does, other than the bend, I think everything else is stuff that will be coached. with how young he is.
Yeah.
I really like the potential, but I get where you're going, Shane. I'll let you get into your vision for him.
Let me get on my soapbox real quick. So let me start by saying if I decided that I think he should play edge and maybe reform his body a little bit to give himself a better chance to create speed to power better, I think I'd have him right in the middle of this ranking, like around the 5-6 range, because I do see how that could work out. But I think what we have here is a unique opportunity. And when I say that, he kind of feels to me like how I felt about Mykel Williams last year, but actually big enough to play 3-4 defensive end potentially. Whereas I didn't like Mykel because I felt like he didn't have the pass rush instincts and the ability to just win as a pass rusher, but the run defense was so good that I get why teams liked him. But I would have rather drafted that player in like the back end of the first, early second round. Whereas with Keldrick Falk, I think he has the frame and the youth and the ability as a pass rusher, if he can add some more weight to add some more power to his game and not have to play as an edge all the time. I think you could be looking at like a Leonard Williams type, honestly, potentially, which we've seen what he's done with the Seattle Seahawks, especially now. Like that type of like big bodied, 300-ish pound. 295 to 300 is kind of what I'd be looking at for Falk. Like he is so young and so lanky. I think it'd be easier for him to add good weight than it would be for him to maybe slim down a little bit and play a more traditional edge rusher role. And the pass rushing, I think he would just benefit from being able to play inside more, honestly, just because of some of the limitations he has. And I think he's athletic enough that he can handle some more weight without becoming a subpar athlete for the interior, right? It all feels easier for me to project in that way. And if you did that, he would be somewhere in my top 3 or 4 interior players, probably, if you told me he can do those things that I want him to do. But because I don't know that he can necessarily do that, he's just a weird player to play. It's like I don't know where he's going to end up in my top like 50 or whatever it's going to be with the boards that we do, because I just don't know what the projection is for him, right? Like if you told me a team is going to draft him as a pure edge rusher, late first round, early second round, probably for me, because I just don't know how that's going to look. Like he's probably going to be an awesome run defender no matter what, but is he ever going to rush the passer consistently without changing his body? I would say probably no. Versus if he's going to be interior, like I take him middle of the first round just for the intrigue of it. Like what can he possibly become? So it's a tough one, but I get why, if you are viewing him as an edge rusher, why you'd have him in this range for both of you.
Yeah,
fair.
So, and then I believe, does anyone have their number 5 still left? I can't remember.
Mine was Mesidor.
Okay, so I think we're good there. I think we're actually up to just people who have their 3s unsaid, which I know is me, and then is Dalton that has his 3rd?
Correct. I have not gotten anybody.
Because Zion was, or not Zion. Who was your 3, Jake? Cassius Howe, right?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah. Dalton, why don't you go first here with 3?
So my 3, and this is caveat here, is just as a pure edge.
Okay.
Would probably be higher for talking. Like he'll probably be higher than at least one of these guys. In my like actual overall player rankings, but as a pure edge, I have Arvell Reese at number 3.
Okay, where do you have him, Jake?
I don't have him on mine.
Okay, so you chose not to watch him for edge, or?
Yeah, I didn't watch him for edge.
Okay, gotcha. Okay, so he is number 2 for me on the edge rankings, if he's a pure edge. And I think from initial watch, and I'm going to dive into him as a linebacker for next week, or we'll talk about the schedule for the show. But next time when we do linebackers, I'm going to watch him for that too. I think I'm going to ultimately bank on his athletic traits as an edge rusher more from what I saw. So we'll kind of see if Jake, you feel the same way about that when we get to linebackers. But I get why you have him at 3, Dalton. I debated putting him at 3, but I think the potential was enough to outweigh who I have at 3. So
I would have him like I think I figured out where, like, if he plays the right role in the right, like, I would definitely have him over who I have at number 2.
Okay.
But it's just a matter of I'm worried there's a lot of potential for teams to screw him up.
I 100% agree with that.
Yeah.
And we'll talk about that.
I mean, the arm length is just awesome, and like the explosiveness and powerness and just the violence he plays with is awesome. And I think like he could bulk up with being a true junior. I think he's young enough that you could bulk him up from 6'4", 243. I think he could get to like 255 and be a really good edge. But I don't know if he needs to do that. I don't know if he is a true like D end. I think what he is in the ideal role, he is born to be the buck linebacker in a 3-4.
Mm-hmm.
Like he is a true buck, and he is like we've talked about a lot of guys like having to do that by default.
Yeah.
He is a guy that you put in that role, and he is a feature of your defense, kind of like how Von Miller was for a long time. Terrell Suggs did it a little bit before becoming like a true D end, which I think eventually teams are just going to be like, all right. I think as he gets older and bulks up a little bit more, I think eventually Arvell Reese is going to just be a true edge. But at least for now, as long as he has the speed, I think you let him kind of do a lot of things. But when push comes to shove on third down, you want him rushing the quarterback. He is too good at it to not have him do it. And he's doing it part-time, and it already still looks really good. Like, I mean, with just how the physical tools are so good.
Yeah, for me, like I'll talk about him here because again, I do have him at 2 off potential alone. The tape is just really, it's really hard to determine what I think he should do at the next level. I kind of like what you have envisioned for him, Dalton. Like I would like him in that role, especially early on. But ultimately, I think if I was just ranking him based off his film from this past year, like if I was just looking at what he did, I don't think he'd be a top 5 player at either position. Purely is what he showed last year because he didn't do enough pass rushing, truly, like enough actual like playing edge for me to determine much of anything from him because he wins with a bull rush and he runs the speed. That's it. Nothing else. There's nothing else on his tape as far as a pass rusher at all.
He hasn't had to.
That's my point. Like we don't know what kind of pass rusher he really actually would be as an edge because he just hasn't done it. And then as a linebacker, I don't love a lot of the coverage stuff that I saw on tape from him.
Yeah.
I think that he just doesn't really like but he doesn't play linebacker truly either. Like he kind of plays whatever you want to call his role at Ohio State is. And unless you think a defense in the NFL can just keep asking him to do exactly that, which isn't quite what you're talking about, Don, but similar to that. He is a projection ultimately. You're drafting a superior athlete with the hope that he can play one of those 2 spots, probably edge, in my opinion, ultimately, if he's going to get drafted as high as we think he's going to get drafted. And you hope that he can be that type of player at either spot, like a true difference maker at either spot. I'm projecting it to be easier for him to do that at edge. And I think, like you said, you're doing that too, Dalton. But at the end of the day, like you are drafting a awesome athlete who you hope can become an edge rusher because that's not what he is right now, technically. So I have him at 2 off potential, but he's a guy that I do think there's a higher likelihood than we would prefer a guy going probably in the top 5 that he just ends up not being a player in the NFL very long because of the skill set.
Yeah. He I watched him a bit. I'm going to watch him more for linebackers, but
right.
That's part of the reason that I had him at linebacker. I kind of didn't want to because I am a bit concerned about the coverage. Like he doesn't look great in zone coverage, and there's a lot of times in man coverage where he kind of just gets lost, while he's guarding somebody, which isn't great. But I think when he wins a lot of his pass rushing with like athleticism.
Yeah.
But I feel like I don't really see him set up lanes or angles. He doesn't have much leverage. Like he doesn't have as much of a pass rushing bag.
No.
I worry about how much he'll be able. And I mean, he's a great athlete, but I worry about how much he'll be able to win like with athleticism as a pass rusher. And it's something that can be worked on for sure. And I wouldn't be surprised if a team does take him and just put him in that like edge rush specialist role. But I really like how he comes downhill as a linebacker against the run. He's very aggressive,
very violent,
very, very violent, very quick in short areas. He has sideline to sideline speed, which I like a little bit more at the linebacker position.
No, I get that too. Yeah.
The thing is, I can't be super confident in him. Like I kind of don't really know what to do with him because I want him to be so much better against the pass. Like you can't have him out there that often as a linebacker if he can't defend the pass like that. But I just think right now, like with his game so much on athleticism and being able to go sideline to sideline, like the upside for him as a pass rusher is definitely there. And I definitely could see him becoming a good pass rusher, but I think it's just really raw right now. And that's kind of why I decided to put him in linebacker.
And again, like I get that, but I would also say like if you aren't confident about him being like this ready to go player, I think it would be naturally easier for him to be impactful as an edge early on than as a linebacker because that's a position that does take some time usually.
And NFL teams are going to value the edge more than
they are. Like if he gets drafted as high as he's projected, it's going to be because they think he can be a pass rusher. Like even if it's not a traditional pass rusher, it's going to be primarily because of what he can do as a pass rusher. And I think, again, the problem with the thing that I shouldn't say the problem, the actual positive with him that I think opposed to some other guys that are like that have been viewed as like tweeners or just guys that don't have a true position is I think he is legitimately a very good football player. Like just at the bottom line, like I think he's going to be good at something in the NFL. It's just, is it going to be what I think would allow him to make good on a top 5 pick? I don't know. That's kind of the thing, right? If he's going to go number 2 to the Jets or number 4 to the Titans or wherever he ends up, like he's going to have to be impactful against the pass one way or another. And he's going to have to find a home of some kind. And right now he just doesn't have it. So we'll have to see what teams do with him. But he's one of the most interesting players in this class and also a player that's going to be drafted very high. So you're going to be talking about him a lot.
Yeah, I think I'm very curious what he tests this week.
And he is supposed to test, which is awesome because I must know how unique of an athlete he is because it will change a lot, I think. For
like
people.
I want to know, like, I mean, everyone's going to pay attention to his 40 time, but specifically, I'm very curious what that 10-yard split is.
Oh, yeah. If that 10-yard split is as good as it could
be. If it's low, I think it's going to be low 1.5s, if not sub 1.5, which I was looking up, like, which I was looking up, like, fastest 10-yard splits in the last 20 years. And, like, just to give you an idea, Henry Ruggs was a 1.43. Chris Johnson's the lowest is a 1.4. Yeah. But like Jalen Milroe ran a 1.44 apparently.
That's wild. Yeah. Running back Jalen Milroe in the future.
But see. Yeah, like I think if he is sub 1.15, which I absolutely could see, I mean, I think that's where I just want to know, like, how good of an athlete is he to like where like is he going to be able to just pretty much beat everybody at will with pure athleticism like he did in college?
Because if he can, like, that's going to give him a floor. But he eventually, no matter how good you are at that, you do need to play football at some point. I think he is a good football player.
Yeah, exactly.
He shows, like, traits that indicate that he's going to get better and learn and do these things. But if he's the athlete that some people think he is, which, like, I'm a little bit wondering if that's the case, and that's why I'm glad he's testing, that's what will solidify him as a top 5 pick, is if he tests the way that people expect him to. I don't think he would test if he wasn't going to test the way that people expect him to.
Yeah.
So very excited about that.
I think like his floor is like, I mean, at worst he ends up having to be Jihad Campbell if he can't do the edge thing.
That's true. Yeah. Well, I think Campbell plays really good in coverage, though, is the thing.
Yeah,
like,
Campbell's much better in coverage, but I think Reese, like,
much better run defender.
Yeah, he's much better run defender, and also like he's athletic enough where like he's not gonna be able to play a zone, but he can run with most running backs and tight ends and man because he's
He just needs to play a position long enough to get good at one of them.
Yeah,
that's
really
kind of the problem that we're running into, is that how do we know that he's like, we don't know that he's bad at any of the positions, but we also don't know if he's good because he doesn't play any of them traditionally enough. Like,
Yeah.
I can't be mad at him for not being great in zone, because how could he be? Like, realistically, if we're being honest about it. So he's definitely the most intriguing player in the class.
Abdul Carter, I think, would be the ideal.
Yeah, that'd be sick if he could just do that. Yeah. If he just actually played edge rusher, that might be what he looks like, but we just don't know. And we might not know until he's in the NFL, which then you have to be Micah Parsons, because he did kind of the same thing, right? Where it's like he didn't play edge really either, but he figured it out.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Micah Parsons could pretty much play anywhere on a
That's
field.
True. He could probably play, corner if you really asked him to. But
I still want to live in the universe where he was a running back.
Oh, that'd
which
be
he
so
did
funny.
in high school.
So funny.
Like,
Derrick Henry
imagine
2.0.
Derrick Henry was just faster.
Yeah, somehow. Freaky. And then I think the only person who needs to see there 3 then is me, if I'm not mistaken. Is that right?
Yeah.
And I'm assuming that's either both your number 2s, or if someone is different from each other, number 1 will be different. But David Bailey is my number 3.
Yeah, he's my 2.
He's 2 for me also.
Okay. I'm glad that we agree on number 1, because I was worried that wasn't going to be the case. But David Bailey.
1 is 1.
Yeah, David Bailey is 3 for me, 2 for you guys. I totally get it. I thought I was going to like Bailey less than I did, just based on some of the stuff I heard from other people. But at the end of the day, when you have the get off that this young man has, kind of makes it hard not to just say, yeah, that's a special trait. And in a class that lacks a lot of people with special traits, a lot of prospects with special traits, his get off I don't think he's very bendy overall. And I think that there are some concerns about his profile. But just to get the conversation started, it's 101 in this class. It's overwhelming for a lot of guys. It's when he gets the corner on somebody with his get off, there's just not much you can do.
Grown man strong.
Yeah, that too.
Yeah.
Also moves and counter moves for days.
Yeah, he would just throw shit out just because sometimes, and it works. So it's like,
I don't know about you guys, but the thing I like is you can play him at outside linebacker or D end really easily. As a 3-4 outside linebacker. I mean, where he's
I think he's more comfortable as in a 2-point stance, but you could play him as a D end too if you want to.
Yeah. I think the only thing is, if you're gonna play him as a D end, he needs to bulk up a little bit, and that's probably the biggest concern. Is at 6'3", can he get much above 250?
Yeah, I think his frame might be kind of maxed out, but which is fine if this is the player he is, it's fine. But yeah, it might be best in a 3-4.
He played it I think I saw it 2024. I think he played it 235 or something.
He's already bulked up.
Something super. Yeah, in the last year he's already bulked up, but in 2024 he was super small.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, but I mean you guys kind of said it. His get off is crazy. I don't think he has a ton of bend, but I think he's really flexible in his ankles. There's a lot of times where I was watching him on film, and just kind of the way he contorts his lower body is just going around the edge. Just, you got to have some athleticism to do that. I think I would probably tear an ACL, but he's super, super athletic, really good with his hands on first contact, especially going around the edge. Great at just not even letting linemen really get their hands on him. I like that he has a big bag of pass rush moves that he can work with. He's not number 1 in the class at this position. Just, one thing I noticed in film, he really likes to work around blocks, which is part of, the size thing, but he kind of vacates his gap a bit doing that. Not super physical, and I don't know, his legs are kind of skinny. I don't think he really gets much lower body strength from him, but
doesn't anchor well at all.
No. So those were, the kind of what separates him from number 1 in this class. But I mean, he is a really fun player to watch. He just jumps off the screen.
He does. Yeah. I think he's a different body type than this player, but I think they could be potentially similar in the way that they win and what they're good at. Brian Burns as a comp kind of makes a lot of sense to me, where it's just pure, just like unadulterated get off and speed, and like good luck getting like in front of them if they actually get the snap times or anything like that. Like an additional advantage on top of the get off. Like, and at the end of the day, when you have that going for you, it helps that he has other pass rush moves. Like he is a very diverse pass rusher, but like there's a lot of guys who just have the get off that he has and make it work in the NFL, right? Like, and that's kind of why I think he's a pretty easy projection. Where like if you need that like fire breather off the edge, you don't necessarily need someone added to your team that's going to set the edge really well and do like, not that he doesn't try, like he's just limited a little bit by his size.
Yeah.
Like he's never going to be like this true like do it all like. He's going to be a 3-down player, but not a 3-down impact necessarily in the sense that you're going to get impact from him in the run defense a ton. But he'll make plays. Like his get off allows him to kind of cheat block sometimes and get around guys and make plays in the backfield. He is truly that like number one edge set get off type of pass rusher that you can really fit into almost any scheme. Even if, again, I do think an outside linebacker role is best for him, playing with a 2-point stance. But he can put his hand in the dirt if you absolutely have to have him do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And number one, the man, the myth, the legend.
I wonder who it is.
Yeah, Ruben Bain fucking rocks is kind of the thing. He just does. Like, the arm length be damned. I simply don't care. I literally don't know. I don't care. I don't even know if I want to know what the number is when it gets measured. I don't care. Because it doesn't.
He should never let
matter.
him get met. He should never let his arms get measured.
He should just make it. He should just always be a mystery. Like, I think it'd be funny if he's just like, no, doesn't matter. He rocks. Like, we can get definitely into the actual analysis of it, but I think that's pretty self-explanatory. Like, compact, powerful edge rusher with a surprising blend of finesse and power is the thing with him to me. Like, I think it's not just like, as much as I love the power guys, and it's part of why I knew he was probably going to be number one for me from the get-go. It's not just power. He has more than that to his game. The ability to, like, I mean, again, not a better coached defensive line probably in the country with Jason Taylor there at Miami, but Ruben Bain took all that coaching and then some, is all I'm going to say. He plays the position like a pro, already looks like a pro, plays like a pro, wins like a pro. Like, it's pretty self-explanatory here. And honestly, I'll just throw this out there. The Jets should take him at number 2.
Yeah.
Like, that's my take at this point. Like, we'll see if that changes at any point, but Arvell Reese is obviously very explosive and very, has a ton of potential. David Bailey's really good. I'm throwing the card in
best player in the class.
Yeah, that's so far that I've watched. I would say absolutely so. Yeah, like it's kind of self-explanatory, but you guys take a chance here.
Yeah, the other reason you can go, Jake.
Okay, just to be negative Nancy here.
Okay,
there's like some tiny things that I don't like, but they're really not like huge concerns. One thing I noted was, like, he's not slow off the ball at all, but I would like him to be a little bit more faster. I think that would help him win a little more at the next level. And then I also think, this is part of him just being able to make plays like he does, but I think doesn't have the greatest gap discipline against the run. Like, he'll kind of try to go out of his way to make a play, which I think can hurt him against zone runs a little bit. But with that said, he's impossible just not to love his game. Great side for the position. Even though I think he could get off the ball a little quicker, he's still very quick for his size, and he moves like really fluidly. Very strong. His bull rush can just consistently collapse the pocket, and he has good change of direction off of that. He has a good couple of moves besides just the bull rush, though. Like he has a good rip move and a few other secondary stuff he can go to. Despite his size, he has pretty good bend, and then he can shed blocks really well. Like, there's times where he's just throwing linemen around. So really, I mean, like the concerns I had for him are pretty minimal, and I think they can definitely be improved. Like, yeah, I mean, he's a really, really good edge rusher. He'll be I do like him to the Jets too. I just think that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, as a pass rusher, I mean, he's obviously just an absolute game wrecker. And I don't think the arm length is going to keep him from being able to do that at the next level. And then as far as the run game, the hero ball stuff is like a little bit of an issue, but I think that'll get coached out. Because when he is actually like maintaining his gap and playing the run, he's so strong. He maintains it very well. He can hold, like, you're not going to be able to just double team him and blow him off the edge. Like, he is going to sit there and set the edge regardless of how many bodies you throw at him. Like, he's so strong. Like, he's going to be able to do that just fine. And, you know, you can also move him around and give him opportunities to make tackles for loss against the run, too. I think he has that potential as well. That's the thing, like, True Jr., too. Like, that's something we got to mention.
Yeah, he's... Yeah. Oh, and there he goes.
Oh.
Well, Dalton, I'm glad you mentioned it. I'll pick it up for you until you get back here. He's not 25 or 24. I mean, like, he is a, like, normal age prospect, which... Normally, we don't have to talk about that a ton, but, you know, I think sometimes that is the case. So, but we'll let Dalton get back in here in a second. But realistically with him, right, it just doesn't get a lot better in terms of the profile for an edge rusher of his type, like someone who's as big as he is, as powerful as he is, but doesn't lack in the other areas that normally those guys lack. And, like, he's not slow. He's just not uber explosive, right? Because he's 270 pounds. He's not slow off the ball. He's just, you know, good for his size. Like, tackles aren't going to be able to simply just like set up for him and not let him get around the corner. Like, he can still beat them to the corner without a problem. He bends way better than he should for his size, in my opinion. Like, there's just a lot of benefits to the way that he plays. And honestly, for me, like, what I see a little bit of shades of, like, they're not identical players by any means, especially in terms of this overall size profile. He's not quite as long or as big as this player, but there's like flashes of Nick Bosa in there for me. Like, that's who I kind of thought of at times with him. And, you know, questionable opinions be damned. Nick Bosa is very good. That's all I'm going to say about that.
Yeah.
Despite the memes about Nick Bosa and not football related things. He is very good at his job. So and obviously missed last year. We'll see if he gets back. But, like, that's the type of player that I think the Jets could be getting potentially number 2 if they did take him there. So, but
yeah, I've seen a lot of pro comps with him to Brandon Graham. I've seen that name.
Which,
a lot.
like, I mean, Dalton, are you with us? Maybe not.
Yeah,
like
his name is.
So yeah, you're there. Oh, are you good?
He's slowly loading in.
Can you see me now or no?
I can't see you, but I can hear you. So
cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think my camera's gonna take a second to
that's okay.
turn on.
But anyway, go ahead. Yeah, you were talking about his age and stuff like that, and the fact he's not 25 years old.
Yeah, I mean, just True Junior's a lot more potential, but I mean, I think we've kind of beaten this horse to death. Like, he is really awesome. Like, and would probably be the number 1 overall pick this year if the Raiders didn't desperately need a quarterback.
Yeah, him and Max Crosby though.
Oh yeah,
it was really fun. But
I have briefly like entertained the idea that, like, you either, because I do worry about Mendoza, like, doing all the bootleg stuff in Kubiak's offense. Do you either roll with Geno again and hope that Kubiak fixes him, or bring Carr out of retirement?
Oh God!
And then just draft Ruben Bain and have an elite defense.
Yeah, I mean, that'd be
no.
You don't do that.
You
to be very clear,
it.
You don't do that. I'm
not
saying do that. I'm just saying, like,
it's enough.
I could see an NFL front office talking themselves into that idea.
Yeah, I just you simply can't, unfortunately. But no, I was saying, and maybe I wonder if you agree with me here. Like, not the same player by any means necessarily, but like I saw some shades of Bosa with him, Nick Bosa specifically, like just power for days and big, strong, tough. Like, you know, opinions aside, memes aside for Nick Bosa, but I think he obviously a very good player, and I could see him kind of profiling similarly here.
Yeah.
Oh, did Dalton die again on us?
No, I'm here.
Okay, I just didn't hear you say anything.
No,
Um,
no, I'm with
yeah.
you.
Yeah, but yeah, I mean, again, I think this edge class is very good. I think it's definitely so far at least, and we'll see if I don't think linebacker, corner, or safety is going to be able to top it, but I think the deepest and probably most talented group outside of maybe receiver is the best competition we have for it. But receivers kind of cheating. There's always good receiver classes. Like it's kind of iffy, but
before we
fun.
go,
yeah,
can I make an dishonorable mention that like I feel like there's one guy we didn't talk about that's gonna get brought up in the comments.
Yeah, probably
bring him up. I had him at 12 on my board. LT Overton.
Okay, so I just strictly put him as a defensive lineman because he's not an edge rusher. Bro.
That's fair. Yeah, he's not. I mean, he's really not.
With Falk, I at least kept him on like the conversation of this episode, but with Overton, simply not how he's an interior defensive lineman, bro. He's not an edge rusher.
Yeah. Doesn't do any edge things.
Nothing. Not a single thing. That's okay.
He's in everyone's top 10 edges, and I don't get it.
It's because it's what he played technically in college, but even though he didn't, like he's listed as an edge, so they talk about him as an edge. But he's an interior defensive. He's like what, like 6'3",
6'5", 278.
That's what I don't even think he's 6'5". He's probably like 6'4", 6'3". Like I don't even know what he's gonna weigh in at unless he drops weight, which I don't even think he should do. I think he should just lean into being a defensive lineman. Just play inside, dude. Yeah, I agree with that though. Like this honorable mention's funny though, because I don't even think he's a bad player. He's not an edge.
But like as a D lineman, I think he'd be like back end of my top 10.
Right, exactly. It's kind of I think that's where he's gonna land too when I do my rechecks or stuff. But yeah, I don't know. Assuming you feel the same way, Jake, probably about him.
Yeah.
Certainly not an edge player. Sorry.
No.
But unless you guys have any other things you want to throw out there, I think we covered things pretty well. Next week, we are going to be doing some sort of mock draft exercise probably because I am about to get destroyed with the amount of work I have to do next week. So didn't let you guys know that beforehand, but that's what it will be next week. And then probably linebackers the week after that. So, but unless you guys have anyone else you want to throw out there, talk about, we should be good to go, I think.
Good.
All right. We'll see you guys next time. Again, it should be a mock draft type of episode. Probably the first of our directional mock drafts that I talked about, which will be the South, because I think that's where you want to start, because the South is iffy outside of a very fun Jaguars team and maybe the Texans if CJ Stroud plays good. Not much else going on in the South divisions at all. So that's probably where we'll start next week. So that'll do it for us this week. We'll see you guys next time.